very...
angry, actually.
He's getting angrier by the day as he sees the great potential of this continent and how it's not being used. Is that fair?
That's fair.
That's fair.
That was rock star Bono and the Secretary of the Treasury, Paul O'Neill, who traveled to Africa in May. Bono was trying to show Secretary O'Neill that Africa can and does put aid money to good use. Throughout the trip, they disagreed a lot on key issues. But in the end, they both say that they're working toward the same goal. The Secretary joins us via satellite from Hartford, Connecticut. Welcome, Secretary O'Neill.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. What did you think when Bono first walked in your office? Did you know who he was?
Well, I knew who he was, and I knew a little bit about his music. But the truth is, when my staff suggested that he should come and see me, I said, no, he just wants to use me. And so I put him off for a while. Then I let him come in for 15 minutes, and in 15 minutes, he convinced me he was real. And so I asked him...
15 minutes went into 90 minutes, did it not?
That's right.
Because he doesn't know how to leave once he gets in the door. Yeah. What do you think of this idea of the U.S. and other nations relieving the debt of poor countries, especially in Africa now? Did you move on your opinion?
Well, you know, I felt for a long time that we in the developed world and the people who are supposed to be leaders need to be a lot more impatient about the deprivation that so many hundreds of millions of people live in and around the world. And President Bush and I are dedicated to the proposition that we're going to finally get real results in the lives of people who have nothing. The President's asked for an additional $5 billion to work on this problem. And I'm convinced, as you and Bono were saying, as we can demonstrate we can produce real results, which means clean water for every human being, a primary education for every human being, dealing with the problems of HIV/AIDS. The American people are a very generous people, and they will respond to the opportunity to help other people have a life that gives some fulfillment instead of one that's hopeless.
So are you saying you're going to give up the money?
We're going to produce results, and not only are we going to provide more money, we're going to induce the rest of the world to insist on getting results, and the Bono's going to help us do it.
And are there ways we can do it to be more effective? Because I, heard you say, and one of the things that I think you've, made very clear is that you think a lot, and obviously a lot of money has been spent, and we have given a lot of money in aid and haven't seen the results that we might have wanted to have seen. So how do we make that more effective?
Well, I tell you, I think we have to be very insistent that the people who are supposed to be leaders of their country ensure the rule of law, ensure enforceable contracts, provide a primary education and water to their people. And then, for example...
You can't say water enough, because I've often said this on this show. It's the thing that we in this country take the most for granted. What people have to do to get water in other parts of the world, and especially in Africa, carrying water on their heads for miles, to have access to water.
See, it's a gender issue, and I think that's something the Secretary pointed out to me, and he said, watch, it's the women that are carrying the water. It's taboo.
Yes.
So the women are they're walking sometimes 10 miles a day to bring water. So if the Secretary O'Neill and President Bush and Condoleezza Rice and the United States Congress, there's people, Democrats, Dick Durbin here in Chicago, Pat Leahy, incredible man. If everyone gets together, this idea of bringing water to Africa, it is not far-fetched, it's possible, and we can do it right now. And I'll tell you, it will revolutionize that continent.
I got to ask you, I mean, you look like a pretty buttoned-up kind of secretary. So was this a kick for you, traveling with Bono?
It was really a great treat to travel with someone who cares as deeply as he does, and to use his celebrity to show the world problems that everyone should be aware of so we can work on them more diligently.
Thank you, Secretary O'Neill.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.